welcome to Beats, Rhymes and Life podcast. I'm Shakira.
I'm Ash.
The one and only Riz.
And we have a lovely guest today.
Emmavie, hey.
Hi.
Hi, Emmavie. Nice to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
Actually eager to have you on here for a while.
I appreciate it. Sorry, I was like, I missed the other requested days. I think a couple of them.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We're not holding it against you.
We've been going back and forth for a few months trying to arrange it. And then I think Snips took one of the days that you couldn't make as well, so it worked out anyway.
But yeah, we're happy to have you. How have you been?
I've been very well. I've just been like super busy. And then when people ask what have I been doing, it's been really hard to say. You know those ones?
What
have I been doing? Because I'm like, really, I've just done like 2 things, but they've taken 4 months to do. It's like that. But yeah, I've been everywhere, just making music, just getting ready for like World Domination, really. So that is a busy and hard task.
Yeah.
Takes
a lot out of you, doesn't it?
And I'm trying to be like Missy Elliott plus Pharrell plus Justin Timberlake plus Lylo plus Erykah Badu all in one, and then like smash some like music soul child in there and a little bit of like whoever else. That's a lot.
So
and like yeah.
So just give us, obviously for our listeners, just give us a little brief like breakdown of who you are, what you do. Obviously we're fans.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah,
so I sing, I rap, I dance, I produce, I DJ, and I work a lot with people, so I collaborate. I think that's how people have come to know my name more so than me releasing solo projects, because in terms of solo projects I've only ever put out 2 EPs, but one of them doesn't exist online anymore because then like when the traction exactly once the traction built around everything else, that was just too dated to still have out there. But actually it might still be, no it's not, it's in some places, but some people have it. Some DJs are still playing some music from my old EP called 0609. Like Shy One still plays one tune I have, which right now the name of it escapes my mind, and it's my own song, so it's just crazy. But the amount of times she used to play it, and I'd be like, oh my god, how is this live on radio right now? But I've done a lot of work with people like Alchemist, I'm Nobody, Rom, so like a lot of the Selection Camp most recently. Obviously like we talked about Budgie, and like you've had Snips on the show, and I'm working with Snips now. And loads of like up and coming singers in the UK, because one of my main aims, at least with this year, is to produce a lot of like, especially not solely female vocals, but like female vocal R&B, but that's because that's a lot of what I've grown up listening to, and I kind of know how to like package it in a particular way. And plus I will be working with some like male R&B singers, because there are people like Jordan King that are really really loving us, and Dornick, who I've already worked with, but like they're just fewer, I guess. And I'm just making a lot of music, and there seems to be a lot of female singers, so that's just happened more naturally. But yeah, that's like me in a lot of sentences.
Cool. Go on, Ashley. I think
I've seen you live twice. I think the first time Shakira was there as well at the John B show.
That is how I came to know about you. And I was like, she is amazing. Her band is amazing. Sweet. I am so in love right now. I was like, oh my days, like, because I was like right there in front, and I was like, who is this girl? And why did I not know her before? Like, it's crazy. Because
I'm a ghost. That's the thing. I only come out at night. It's like that kind of thing. So no one actually, a lot of people, they hear the name or they hear my voice, but they don't know what I look like or what I feel like in real life. And then I end up doing reasonably big shows, and I think that's like
catches people. Yeah,
because they're like, how are you on this stage? Like I've done like Coco or something like that. How are you on this stage in front of like 1,000 something people, or Roundhouse in front of a few thousand people, and like coming out as a special guest? So it's like all these people are paid to be here to see whoever else, and like massive people are coming on the stage, and then I come on at like a peak time as well, because of the relationships that I have with people, and then people are like, who is this? But then they're like, oh, but I know the song, because when I do Deeper or something like that, which is a song that I have with I'm Nobody, when we put that out, it just gained a lot of traction in the dance world, and then it started getting like started being like the backing track to a lot of things. So then it made it so a lot of people knew the songs, but no one really had a clue who I was. And then so what night was it? at John B that you saw me? Was it the first night or the second night? The second night was the one where the drum thing broke.
No, it was
the first night. Okay, you guys were lucky.
It was the first night.
You were lucky then.
Oh, it was a great night. I'm in love with your band.
Thank you. They're so sick. I'm in love with them too. I'm in love with them too.
They're absolutely amazing.
It's kind of ridiculous because like when you see, I think, any kind of live show, especially if somebody's got a band as well, I always pay attention to like how tight the band is and how they interact with stuff. So like probably the other bands that are on the same kind of bandwidth, I'd guess, when you see them playing together, like Odyssey, his band is really, really good. He also has D'Angelo, of course.
Obviously.
But it's like, you know, little things when you're watching as somebody like that's doing showmanship, and it's like that you might give them a count, or you know they want to do a couple of stabs and stuff. There's things like that where you notice where you interact with your band. It's like, okay, you guys proper rehearsed.
This
is
it's so cohesive. That's the thing. It's so cohesive. Like, I love that.
Do you guys spend a lot of time rehearsing, or is it just like a natural vibe?
We used to spend a lot more time, but you know what? When you get older, that's it, and life responsibilities just come in, and time and our schedules aren't always in sync. With most shows, we will have like one rehearsal, and between the live shows I've been in recently, because the majority of the shows I've done in the last year have been PA sets because I was traveling or something, so I couldn't take all of my band. Then we tend to like have one rehearsal, and at this point it's like every 6 or 7 months or something like that. But because of the kind of musicians they are, and because we have, even if it's that far apart of us actually meeting and getting together now, because we've had such a long period of time together and we've had that growth, we know each other's exactly. Like, you know, exactly, you kind of like can predict what we're gonna do, and it's just like they also have this way of, if they hear something, they can play it. So that's like, even if I give them a new song, they pick up so quickly. We kind of already know what direction we're gonna go with the live arrangement, because there's just a formula. Do you know what I mean? And like once we've like figured out the tunes, how they sound live, then it's with my band, because they're so creative. It's just about, I just say to everyone, do you like really this show isn't just me, because if you notice, my shows are mad loud, but my songs are really slow and they're really rather quiet. So when you so you listen to my tunes and it's like, but then you come to live show, it's and it's just like, just because I'm like, guys, just lash, like just as long as we know what we're doing and there's not a point where you're playing the wrong thing and everything, which never happens. It's like, you're actually, if you pay attention individually to what everyone's doing, you'll see that everyone's kind of just expressing themselves, and like that more so is what I think attracts people, because it isn't just them playing the song, so it's never just an 8-bar loop. Like Nathaniel on bass, he basically always changes my songs, and he makes me go back and change my songs, because like I would send him the track and he would have had it for 3 weeks, and I know he only listened the day before, but us getting to rehearsal, so he always plays the bass line differently, but he plays it how he would have done it in his head if he was to produce it. So then what he ends up doing is he plays it how he wants to, and then throughout the song, because he doesn't really know the bass line, it changes constantly. Every time he plays it, the bass is completely different, which obviously changes what everyone else does. So the vibe is always constantly changing, which is it then
gives it a bit more fluidity.
Exactly. It makes the songs have more of a story. Exactly. So it's like, it's not boring because it's not repetitive, and then a lot of what we're playing now is stuff that hasn't been released, so it's like people don't even know what to expect, so all you're getting is the live rendition, which is so like it's just
that's what
so
I was going to mention. Between the Jazz Cafe show, I think you played maybe 2 of the same songs, or a couple of bits, but then everything else was different, and then even the songs you played in a different way. So to me, at the Jazz Cafe, when we watched, I was like, this is sick. But then I remember afterwards having a go about the sound man, because I felt like you got drowned out a little bit at one point. But then at Red Bull, everything was on point. I mean, the setup there was sick anyway. But watching it, I was like, alright, cool. And then me, that's what I really came for. Obviously, I wanted to see Sid as well. I mean, everybody was good on the night, but I was looking for you and then looking for Sid.
I was so jealous that I wasn't there that night. So jealous.
Like, the whole crowd just went nuts. And I was like,
fun.
How was the Red Bull show?
That was like, I was tired. Something. I really was so happy that it happened, but it was 1 week after I'd come off tour, and like being on a European tour with Mesega and going by myself effectively, like not going with my team and going with them. Back-to-back flights, hotels, running around like different towns that I don't understand the signs and stuff like that, having like 4 hours sleep every night. a week wasn't enough to recover. So I was just like, and then when you did this massive show, I was like, this is the sickest show I've ever done, because obviously they had the big screens and stuff behind. Looks great, but it's just like, then actually in terms of the performance, I feel like it went off well, knowing that like I was exhausted. Everyone was exhausted though. Like IMDb was asleep on the couch before she got on set. Like that's how tired everyone was. Like Sid wasn't even really talking to anyone, but I don't know if like that's just, I think that's her. If that's just her. Like I feel like everyone, it was one of those periods of time where there was so much happening. It's the end of the year and everyone's got a lot of things wrapped up. Pretty much everyone that was on the show had like done like 4 shows prior to that night and stuff like that. It was an amazing experience and I met incredible people. I wish I could do it again. I wanted to, as soon as it was done, I was just like, damn, it's just like you get to the end of the set and you're like, oh, now I've really like warmed up to it. Now I'm ready, you know what I mean? So I thought it was incredible. Like it was the one show I've done and I've like not been able to get from like over there to over there without speaking to 400 people and kind of like so I met a lot. It was good because a lot of those people didn't know who I was, but because they're fans of Sid, they're gonna more naturally be inclined to like my music, because it's like I'm a massive internet fan, so then like there's stuff stylistically in my music that is similar or influenced by them, so then it was good. It was really good for me in that sense. But yeah, in
terms of influences, like what would you say, other obviously you mentioned the internet, who else kind of influences, or who else do you say you listen to or you borrow from? Because obviously I'm aware you produce as well, so you have a rough idea of what you want the music to sound. So who would you say are your influences
right musically? This minute, I've been listening. So in the past, it would be obvious ones like Pharrell and Timbaland, Missy, because like I came up in the 90s R&B era into the early 2000s, where it was like Nelly was the most popular rapper. Like people always miss out these people like Jero and Ashanti. Like I had Ashanti's album, I knew it. You know this one, so like the vibe, I knew what like it meant to be that like sexy R&B diva. As like, even if I was a tomboy, I was still like, oh baby. Do you know what I mean? So I knew all of them, like that vibe. I was really in that, like when R&B was really gangster, that was what I was really into. So when it was like about Rough Riders and like Murder Inc. and that kind of stuff, so like my sound is very much influenced by that hip-hop influenced R&B. And then people like Tim and Bob, percussion wise, like I've got some songs on my album now that like people are just like, oh, this reminds me of Bobby V, and I'm just like, that's Tim and Bobby me, because of like the that kind of stuff.
They had a nice run.
They had a very nice run. People didn't even know how much else they did. Whether it was John B, even Get a Romance was Tim and Bob as well. Like they had a lot. They had a everyone's bangers. Run.
People like Dre and Vidal as well.
They had a run as well.
It's true. Who was doing, I can't remember the name, but like people that were producing around like Omarion and those kind of people, because I was really in that like pop R&B era.
They had a lot of the same producers. Dre and Vidal were involved.
Tim did some stuff.
Tim did. There's another duo. It's like Ransom and someone else. It's like Carvin Higgins and another dude. Rich Harrison was involved in a lot of that as well. And probably Brian Cox. Anybody.
Exactly.
Any R&B in that era was Brian Cox for me.
That's that. And then I guess right now, because being so closely affiliated with like Selection, it's going to be the Selection people. I listen to Rom pretty much every single day. It's people like Monty Booker, who are just, it's just a matter of time before we work together, because it's just always been in discussions. And whilst I've been waiting for it, been listening, and like the way he places his percussion and like just crazy things he does, I'm like massively influenced by that, because it's so far away from what everyone else is kind of doing right now, where there's a very heavy just trap R&B thing happening. And like, even though he's got the trap like sounds, his production is a bit more like oh god, there's a sound for it. But if you ever listen to people like Hudson Mohawk and Dorian Concept back in the day, where it was very much like all that kind of stuff, like he has that, and then just throws in that soulful element. So I'm just like that. I had a period of time where I only listened to Dorian Concept and Hudson Mohawk for that thing. Is that they never had songs that looped. It always went into like some crazy scientific sounding space music sort of thing. So then that's kind of where my production right now is like centered around. And I guess because I haven't released any new music, it's hard to like prove that, but when it comes out,
next question.
So
your album was announced Is it Fresh Select Records?
Yeah, Fresh Selects.
Yeah. When's it coming?
I mean, I'm getting asked this question every single day.
I would imagine so.
It's a case of the songs have been done for ages. At least the songs for that signing have been finished a long time ago, but they weren't mixed and mastered, or they were, and I wasn't particularly happy with it. And like neither was Fresh Selects. And then what happened is I had a lot of good runs, I think. So I ended up going on that tour, doing some great shows, doing stuff like Red Bull, like just having time away from actually being able to focus on the album. But it was good because it built my built demand, I guess. Like my following's gone up significantly since a lot of these things. They say if I have a fan base, it's really difficult. It's hard to say if you have a fan base. But like, then it's expanded. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm seeing my music has reached different corners from when I signed the deal to now, and like has reached new heights, even without having released any new music, but just because of the kind of collaborations that I've done and the kind of pockets and spaces I've put myself in. So it's like the wait has been worth it, because if I had put out the album about a year and a half ago when we planned to, it wouldn't have been going. It would be going out to several thousands of less people. And it's like now there are thousands of new listeners. There are brand partnerships that I have now that I didn't have before, and more that are like we're discussing. So it's just like it's gonna make sense for people to know that I'm working with certain brands, or know that I'm working with certain producers and blah blah blah. Then drop my album, because those are 1,000 more people that like can buy it, if anything. So
sorry to cut you.
Go on.
In terms of, obviously, like we've got a segment at the end where we basically play unsigned talent. Is there anyone at the moment that you kind of, because we haven't had this discussion, it's kind of one that we wanted to do an episode on. Like, obviously you've got big things planned. Is there anyone else from like that scene that you would say, you expect to see big things from them in the next like year and a half? Or is there anyone within your own team and stuff like that?
Loads. I think the space that I'm in right now, because because I've like half produced or written for a lot of people.
That's kind of why I was saying.
Then it's like I'm not even sure. I'm not sure. I'm definitely sure, because I've seen it before, that the songs that we have, because I think it's not about the artist so much anymore until they have a banger. Like I'm pretty sure I've got some really, really good hits with people that like will take them into a different space, because I've seen how me doing it for myself has done that. And like then I'm working with like people like, okay, my best friends, people like Catherine, Sarah and Grace, or Samba, and we have like with Catherine Sarah, I've got this tune called Fling Love. Right now she's like kind of just bubbling, and some people know, but most people, like not a lot of people know yet, but like they will when the next song comes out. It's just about timing, because like we have a really good track, and it's just like I've seen it with when I did Don't Care with Lylo Gold. Lylo Gold at that time again was in the same space that Catherine's in right now, where like some people know they're very talented girls, but like you just need to have that one hit that like people can see on radio, do you know what I mean? People can see on TV and blah blah blah. I did a song called Don't Care with Lylo Gold, and like I don't even know how many streams and how many plays and how much radio play it's had since, but in that time it popped. And it was just like, and I think I know that formula, especially when it comes to that kind of music. So then I'm like, well, I know in the bag I've got like 16 of those. Do you know what I mean? Just like got like loads, but it's just taken a long time because everything else has been happening. So I'm like, when we finish it, bang in the middle of summer or something like that, drop these tracks. It's not even so much going to be that like I just think I know this person's going to have a good run if like we drop that track and then things just connect. But I know it's more so it's always the song, because if you think about people that are popping right now, the guy that sings the Barking tune, like as an artist, do you think people are thinking this is an incredibly well-rounded artist that's so talented, or is it the tune?
Not necessarily.
Exactly.
In fact, he's been getting a lot of flack on Twitter. I feel a little bit bad for him actually. He's been getting like personally attacked.
I haven't seen it.
In terms of like, we're in an era where you don't necessarily have to have honed your craft much in order to get a lot of attention. Like you necessarily, where the scene is built to a point where it's like everyone feels that they can make it to the next level or have that banger that might chart well. So it's like people are searching for that. And before, where there was a period of time, I'd say between around 2007 to about 2010, where obviously things felt like, obviously you rap as well, like a lot of the rappers were making more, how would I say, chart crossover type music.
Rappers, MCs were making,
but not a lot of them were actually getting the success off the back of that, where now we're seeing artists release songs that are charting well. Obviously streaming plays a big part of that, but there's a formula that people have seen work. So it's like, again, with Rams, he's got the song, what's Barking, isn't it? We've seen Addison, like, for me, they're pretty much the same song.
That's
innit?
what I'm saying. A lot of
it's melody
songs,
based, so it's like, stylistically you kind of know what lane to go down if you want to appeal to a certain demographic and market. Obviously with someone like yourself, I've listened to you for quite a while, and I came into contact with you more from your production. So you used to do the things on Twitter where you would obviously, and your YouTube as well.
I didn't know people actually watching.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a bit of a weird, like,
he scouts the net. He told me about you a few years ago.
Scout. So it's like, for me, musicianship with someone like you, like, do you have like the values of behind your music? Do you have like a problem? I wouldn't say a problem, but coming from,
go on.
Spit it out. I know where you're going.
We all know what you're asking.
Do you rate what is currently like popular in a sense where?
Yes.
Here comes the
I'm just like,
PC
it's like yes, as in it's a banger for a reason, as in it's gained so much traction because there's something about it that's so catchy. It's the way that, like, as much as I don't always necessarily, like, I don't make that kind of music. If Cardi B tune comes on, I'm gonna go crazy in the club, even if I'm at home making beats that are in 7/4 with a million different chords and like 5 different harmony parts, and there has to be saxophone on it now, and then we need to go back and put the violins on it, and these aren't thinking like that, because all the, like, all the musicality that's in it is, most of it is just like synthesized, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? And like sampled and all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, I'm not unappreciative of that music because it does what it needs to do. Like the music
very microwave.
Yeah, exactly. Just exactly. You put it on and you're gonna dance. And like I'm from a different era where, like, let's say someone was saying about how hip hop has really slowed down and gotten a lot more basic. Because if you listen to the production of like a Ja Rule song in the early 2000s, like there was a lot. Like think of Normie Christina is Million. Every little thing that we do, it does what it needs to do in the club, as in you play it. But if you actually listen to what's happening,
the musicality of it. But yeah, that's something that I think a lot of popular music is missing. And it's why I tend to
stray away from it.
So like, there's a lot of new stuff that comes out that I'm like, oh, okay.
This is nice.
But it's because for me, I need more for music. Like, if I'm going to listen to a song, I want to listen to it 3 times. Because I want to hear the harmony. I want to hear the lyrics, and I want to hear the production. So each time I have to listen to something, to a different part of the song. But this music that comes out, and it's just like, one play is definitely enough.
Yeah, exactly. Because you get it after 4 seconds.
I feel like we're more purist to an extent of not everything has to be super well produced or anything like that, but there's just got to be a little bit more to it. Sometimes you might hear a song in 10 seconds and you're like, yes, this is a banger, and you will still go on to discover more through the song, however many more listens later. This stuff, you don't get it. So some of it I can still appreciate. Like, we've talked about Cardi B a lot in here, considering her rise in the last year. I'm not a fan of her as an artist, but I can appreciate what she's done, and more power to her. She's doing well, so I'm not going to take that away. It's not really my vibe, music, but then if you look at all the different cycles throughout popular music, for quite a few years now, arguably the more soulful stuff or the more intricate stuff hasn't been the mainstream thing. It's definitely been, I think the last few years, it's been a lot of the independent stuff. So like you were saying with Alpha Mist, stuff like that, he's been bubbling. Tom Misch has had a crazy journey in the past 2.5 years. A few other people, even some of the guys that you were working with. I know you had the podcast with 3 others. Was Laura, it Reed Dahlstrom, Laura Misch, and Ruby Wood?
Ruby Wood and Comedy.
And they've all had their little journeys. I think I've heard everybody either at a live show or heard a decent amount of solo material from them, apart from maybe Ruby Wood. I think I've listened to everybody else's stuff. Like, everybody.
I think with our particular network, including like the Tom Mish and the Barney artist Alpha, and then because we're all like kind of a family.
He told me about you, and then however long later I heard Tom, which then put me onto Barney, and then back to Alpha Mish, and I listened to your guys' project together, and then it kind of all linked up to everybody else's stuff. Yeah,
I think because we do a niche kind of music. And it's very, and like you said, with soul music that kind of takes a back seat, but still because it's at a high enough quality, then you can see someone like Tom Mish has garnered a huge fan base following, and like even if now it seems to simmer down, as in maybe you're not hearing Tom Mish every day on One Extra on BBC Radio 1 or something like that, but he's there. And if he does a show that is a 3,000 capacity or something like that, it's gonna sell out. Do you know what I mean? 100%. Always, and no matter where he is in the world, because of how much his fan base trusts him and they're there with him. They know that like they're there with him forever, and that's what happens with niche, that kind of like niche music, and that's so like
you get dedicated maybe fans. A smaller fan base, but they're gonna be loyal. Now Quanda said it was like, would you rather have like, I don't know, 5 million fans and maybe like 100,000 that are really into you, or have 300,000 hardcore like ride or die type fans that are going to support absolutely everything that you do.
That's what happens with quality, though. That is actually what happens with quality. When you are musical like that, and you can see the artistry in someone's music, you become more dedicated to them as an artist then, rather than just I like this song and this song sort of thing. It's like, I like your journey. I'm gonna sit with you through it. Like. Yeah.
Just to follow up on that, so is there any chance of us getting a pen game challenge from you?
What? You know what?
That's a great.
I like that.
I'm like, I feel like I'm so out of the social media world that but it would come too late, because like it would have been, it won't even be popular anymore. It'll be a new thing by the time I'm like, let me do this. So like, I would if I was really like. I just don't know if I'm been watching some, but I haven't really been like felt like, let me get in, show people what I'm working with. But I guess also when it comes to my rap, it isn't so much just about the rhymes. Like the rap that I have on my album is I needed to be able to say more words in this space. Like I've got a significant rap moment in a song that I have called Confidence, which is directed at Black women, and it's talking specifically about the Black women experience. And like in the verses, because you sing and then the words are elongated and stuff, I'm like, the message actually being lost a bit because it just sounds nice. The rap bit is, this is what is happening. Do you know what I mean? You're being systematically oppressed. You're dealing with microaggressions and blah, 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 blah. Rap allows you to say all of that stuff. And that's why I'm rapping more so than it's just like, man, do you know what I mean? It's actually like, so pen game wise, like in terms of I think what people's intentions are with it, so that's probably a bit different from mine. I think they want to show that they're skillful.
Trying to show their hardest 16, which isn't being displayed very often.
It's not being displayed very often.
There's some really good ones, but
I can name them on one hand.
Go on, I'm curious, what's yours?
Name them. I was thinking it.
No, because I know one that you think.
The first pen game that I heard for me is the best one. So Bonkers released his one pretty early.
Yeah, Bonkers
one was really good. Miss Banks' one was okay.
That was
Nole had a decent pen game. But for me, Nole isn't necessarily what she's saying. I just like her flow. In terms of she spazzes when she speaks.
Nole's very talented.
Is it Lady LaSure? Or I don't know how you say it.
I haven't heard it.
Do you know what the thing is? I can't get the vibe of her yet, but she can spit.
But that's my issue. That's my issue with her, because she's actually crazy talented. But because she does the corny thing quite a bit, people take the mick out of her. She does the corny thing, so people don't respect her. But she actually is so talented.
So talented.
I heard that.
And it frustrates me.
I'm literally exactly the same.
What it is, with her, I think, because I don't. She's from Birmingham, innit? So
no, really?
So like automatically, there's like a London bias, and I don't think we've got behind her the way that we didn't get behind her the way that we probably would if it was someone from London.
Someone local, so that there wasn't the locality.
I didn't think it's the corny thing, because London has a level of cool.
That was a part of what I was gonna say in terms of we didn't get behind her, So she had to look at other ways to get into position.
True.
That's for me, because when I first heard that,
because
I saw her in
Birmingham,
one.
you know, they could have got behind her. She wasn't in Birmingham by herself.
I'm not gonna lie. It's not like London is just the mecca of things.
No, I hear you. But for this, like, because I first heard her. I don't know if you lot remember that film One Day, which was in Birmingham.
Yeah.
So like after that.
But do you feel like we saw the extremities of her talent in that? Because we
didn't. So I'm one of, like I said, I'm one of those people.
That's where she came up.
She was one of the baby mums.
Yeah.
That was the same.
She was rapping that man. She would follow him into the store.
Oh, that makes sense now.
Yeah. So after that,
I want to watch that film again. How hilarious.
After that, I kind of heard more of her music, innit?
Yeah.
And it wasn't nothing like the brush my teeth stuff.
Yeah.
Like it was a lot more. How would I say? Because Nicki was popping in the Nicki lane, where she, like I said, she's got bars, but I just don't really think people relate to her story.
I think her and Azryah Banks are like American and UK counterparts in the sense that they're both very talented and stuff and can rap or whatever.
Is crazy talented, but also crazy.
Their musical journey ain't.
100%.
They haven't found I think gone along the right path for them, maybe.
But then at the same time,
disappoints me so much, man.
Like, you know what you were saying with the whole black woman experience, I feel that, like, she wears that quite heavy a lot of the time, because even some of her... Yeah, even some of her... Because she doesn't over-sexualize herself as well. Mm-hmm. Like, a lot of people don't, like, for instance, she can stand next to all of the girls that are out currently in terms of... But a lot of what the women are... And I feel what they're saying is true. They only compare them to other women. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's like, for instance, Nole is always talking about, I'm better than half the man that...
Yeah.
And she
is.
She's actually right. Yeah. But in terms of, if you don't fit, like Foles was saying it on, if the man them don't want to look at you lustfully, just to put it in a politically correct context.
Let's not bother.
If the man them don't want to fuck you and the girls don't want to be like you, it's kind of hard for as a female MC now to kind of cut through in it. So it's like, I think she wears that because obviously...
And there is always going to be that glass ceiling then for female MCs.
I think
always.
What we haven't seen is a female MC come from the UK that's saying something above just maybe their experience here. So like what has transcended in history is if a Lauryn Hill's come through and become a legend as an MC, it's because she's spoken on like social political matters and her like and more worldly things.
Do you know what? That is a really good point. Is that your message has to be has to be accessible, not just to women. Then it has to be accessible to everybody.
I think with someone like Little Sims, as much as she still is like not grown, she isn't. But look how she's transcended.
We have done a great disservice to Little Sims because that girl is far too talented for us to not push her in the way that we should.
But do you know what I think though? I think she's almost bypassed us in the sense of she has, but we should be behind her more. She got somewhere where it was almost like she didn't have to have that long push of like everybody from the UK bigging her up for a year, 2 years. It was just all of a sudden she was just out there.
She did it without us because her talent speaks volumes.
She's got a big showcase coming up and she's got tons of artists on there. And I was like, wait, you've got like 15 people on this show who I wouldn't sit there and say they're bigger artists than her, but some of them are kind of big. Yeah. And it's like, but you're headlining this. These guys are all like...
She's got an amazing team as well. That was pretty much from earlier kind of. Yeah. She isn't there by chance in terms of where she is.
I think there's a lot of calculated decisions in that, but I think it's the same way Stormzy's got a really good team. Even though, again, he's been grafting for years.
Amazing team.
His transition is crazy.
His taken, but you can see that he's got such supportive people and people that it's crazy. I love that though.
Like going back to what you said in terms of Lauryn Hill being one of the only few women who have projected a different type of energy musically, like where the scene is now, do you think we are ready for that here?
I think like what happens is someone comes and
trailblazers
and literally they just upset the balance, like Kendrick Lamar or something, because it's not specifically has to be a woman does something different. Someone just comes in, takes what everyone else has been doing and shits on it effectively. They're like, I can do what you guys do be saying something,
I'm gonna do this
be
as well.
better. The videos and whatever attached to it is gonna come at a particular level, even when I'm still on a general come up. So it's just like, and I'm gonna make you like bounce in a particular kind of way. So even though you can kind of like relate to this music and you get it, it's not going over your head. It still is taking you to another level. Like Drake did it, as much as he kind of. It's not musically complicated, but there was just something about how he was attacking the music that whenever he puts, if he says now, what do you call it, a random style of Chinese music is going to be the hit, is going to be what everyone does, he's just going to do it with that twist that you guys all relate to, Chinese elements, and all of a sudden everyone's going to start doing Chinese music. This is the fact. No one's listening to that. Like, he brought back dancehall, this kind of like dancehall vibe. He's not even. I don't know if he is Jamaican.
He's Canadian, so it's one step away.
Basically.
Do you know what I mean?
Toronto's like mini Jamaica.
But do you see what I mean? He kind of like said the sound is going to be like this, and we've not even realized, but the entire like shift of music went there because it wasn't in that direction before. It's just like he put out 1 or 3 songs in that vein, and everyone realized that is what the new wave is. Same with when T-Pain came and we had so much auto-tune and we had the chopped and screwed era. Do you know what I mean? Again, people were just kind of like, we don't even really realize that everything turned into chopped and screwed music.
And when Tim came with the Asian elements,
exactly, it's like music just started having all the Asian.
That was a boring time to me. Some of them were bangers.
Some of them were great. It was
everything.
hit and miss, but everyone tried it.
Exactly. Like there's a period of time in early 2000s.
Someone does come stylistically and just changes the whole direction. That is true.
So it's that part of World Domination as well.
Yeah.
Part of your World Domination.
100%. Like, I think you have to have a good solid few songs, which is what I've been focusing on a lot, but with a very specific sound so people can recognize it. Because like, even when there was that like Latin American influence music at one particular time, like right now it's Brazilian music, and at least on the internet, like a lot of it's ballet and funk music being sampled into trap and stuff like that. And it's just like, that's even started creeping into Radio 1. Like, it's in the tiniest little things, but there is that boom, in some certain tunes. So you're like, SoundCloud world is like transitioning into.
There's more and more stuff. It might just be one song here and there that are just creeping through, and you're like, oh, what? That's on Radio 1. Like, well, if it was on 1 Extra, you wouldn't be so surprised. But Radio 1 is more like the national premiere of it. I guess like that's going to a lot more people.
So we've got Pain Game potentially.
I'm not promising.
We've kind of talked about the whole your musical journey in terms of like outside of music. Like, just give us a little bit. Like, what do you do in your downtime? Not that you probably get much.
I was gonna say, you think she's got downtime?
What I've been trying to do, once like it got to 2018, my mum told me something. She's like, there's a prophecy, and I don't know if it's a Mayan prophecy or something like that, that says the number 7 is the end of things and the number 8 is the beginning. So any kind of like, this 2018 is the beginning of a new 10-year cycle, that any habits you pick up now, you can drop all the habits you've had before, anything that like was a negative behaviors you've had.
I'm a firm believer in that.
Yeah, 100%. So I feel like right now it's been the space where I've been trying to be a bit more conscious and self-aware of how I'm spending my time, how I'm like, what energies I'm giving out to people. So then I've been spending, it's only been like, what date is it today? 26?
Almost the end of the
It's literally only been the first like few weeks of the year, and I didn't want to start it being so far away from home all of the time, because that's what last year was for me. It was never being at home. As much as it was productive, it was sad kind of not really seeing my friends. Like, it's weird that all of my friends from different places all came together and became one big best friendship, because they were always brought together through my shows or something, or like my birthday or something like that. So then they all ended up having even more of a stronger relationship than I did with them individually, as much as they all came together based on the fact that they knew me. So, and then I remember at the end of the year feeling like, when it comes to like when I did the Red Bull show, all my friends were in the crowd going crazy, and had this, and by the time I met them at the end of the day, they were all obviously licked and like, do you know what I mean? And they're telling me all these stories, and I'm like, that's so amazing, but I wasn't involved. Do you know what I mean? That's just like, this was my like, it felt like one of the pinnacle moments of my career. But in terms of like the memories I had of my life, like I didn't really share it with like my friends. I saw them at 11 when we're just kind of grabbing bags, and I like been doing the business thing and hanging around with like the industry. Do you know what I mean? And like, that's what a lot of last year was. So I'm just like, actually, I'm gonna go into this year with, if I'm not just finishing music and doing shoots and like doing podcasts and radio interviews and stuff like that, filming anything, then I'm going to be spending a lot more of my like spare time with just my friends, my family, and my mum. Like yesterday I had a good conversation with my mum and we're talking about like what's happening in Nigeria right now. I don't know if you guys, like, no one knows actually, because the news just doesn't ever, from there, doesn't get here. But like there's some crazy killings happening in Nigeria over the most stupid things, like people wanting to rear cows. That like me and my mum will sit and have a conversation for 4-hour spans. We're both sitting there getting hungry. So I'm talking about when you get hungry, but like the conversation is so deep. We're like, oh, but if the president would do this, da, 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 da. And then afterwards I'm just like, wow, man, like that's the first time I've sat and talked to my mum for like 4 hours in a year. And I'm like, what is that like? But I'm sitting and speaking with whoever I'm being in the studio for 8 hours, period, and it's that I can do every single day of the week. But then there's no real like relationship there. So I'm like, the habits that I wanted to pick up this year is just putting my energy and my time where it really matters. So that's what I've been spending all of my free time doing. It's just kind of putting that back into the people I love.
Love that.
Yeah. That's good. I think I might need to take some steps.
I was just thinking to call my mum. Like,
No, I'm not sure if you guys have any more questions in regards to that.
No, there was one talking point though, what you mentioned earlier, the whole Jay Holiday thing.
Jay Holiday?
So, yeah, exactly, that Jay Holiday thing.
Yeah.
And when did Bed come out? 10 years ago?
10 years ago.
Yeah.
So he's basically come out and said some disparaging things about the likes of Beyonce and other popular female
R&B singers.
I didn't see this.
What did he say?
Basically that they peddle pain and the misfortune of other women for their profit and not necessarily
do anything to change it.
So the songs that they put out are always aimed at a certain...
But is that their duty though? Is it their duty to change it?
It isn't. And that's the argument in terms of...
It isn't, but I do feel like...
He has...
Not to change it, but I think he has a point in the sense of, I feel like if you're such a huge artist and you have such a reach, that if you're considered a role model, you're not necessarily conveying any of that in your music, whether it's a life lesson or whatever. It doesn't even have to be preaching or anything. I just feel like when you've got that much reach, sometimes it could be one song that maybe you can do
reach
something
that
different
particular
and reach somebody else, or maybe affect somebody.
Because where it started from was Mary J. Blige. Obviously, when Bed was nominated for Grammys and stuff, Mary J. Blige got the Grammys and he didn't. Yeah. So his thing is like, he's come out in he's in attack mode, but underneath what he's actually saying, I feel he actually has a point.
So see, like with Beyonce, I've been saying for years, like Beyonce, she has a habit of putting out this really emotional music that seems like, oh my gosh, this could come from a personal space, but quite clearly her personal space is somewhere completely different. And it's because that's what's marketable, and that is what will gain the most attention and most popularity. Yeah. Which I guess is what she's trying to do. Do you get what I mean?
But doesn't she also have a responsibility to change the narrative in terms of, we've seen that for so long. Like, can we not
see?
But that's the thing.
I would say, I think the one thing that's happening that I think I've always kind of argued against, as much as like popularity and like reach should be used responsibly, it also doesn't then like make a person an ambassador for something. Some people actually, like a lot of musicians do not have the knowledge or the experience, like truthfully, to know how to even speak on certain things. That's one thing I've learned. Like when they asked Migos about, I remember some political thing, and it was like some serious topic, and they're like, and they said, we just wanted, or was it race Raymond, and they're just talking about, no, we just want to get our money, like we just do this to get, and I was just like, that for me showed that you can have a million different followers, and they ask you, what do you think about Black Lives Matter or something like that, and they're like, no, I don't really know about all that right there.
Like, that's something I was going to say as well, because even like with the role model thing, I think, did they ask to be one? People like, what if they just want to make music and they just want to make money. And because they've got this following, they've been pushed into a point where I'm a role model and people look up to you. And at the end of the day, that's a lot of pressure to say, oh, all these people looking up to you. And it's like, actually, I didn't ever want them to. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's something
you're allowed to be that way.
That's like, for me, that's one thing. Like, obviously, like I used to make music and I love singing, but I could never be in that space where it's like all these people are looking up to you because I'm not shit. Like,
I've got a quote for you. With great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
In the words of Uncle Ben. It's one of those things where I don't think you can entirely hold someone responsible. Like you said, they might be a completely different person than their music conveys, so they're not necessarily going to be able to relate to stuff or put certain things out there. But I do feel like it's not a responsibility, but it would just be nice. You're not always going to be able to do it.
It is something that I would like to see.
At the end of the day, we're all people.
I think the point I was going to make too is that a lot of them at a certain point, like Beyonce isn't writing her songs anymore. So it's just like, it is easy for Beyonce to say, someone in my camp start writing on the issues right now and like make there be a wave. But then also there are a lot of people on Beyonce's payroll. So like the dip in sales that they might take from speaking specifically on a particular matter, which isolates maybe a crowd of people. If you're, let's say, if they speak on Black Lives Matter and then Trump supporters all of a sudden are isolated, who were still buying into Beyonce's music because she never really touched so much on like a political stance, then like it's too much of a business risk because the music at that point is invested in things greater than
that's what I was going to say as well, is that Beyonce is a business at this point. She's not a role model. Well, people might see it as a role model. She's not a spokesmodel. She's a business. She's a brand. Her and Jay they're a brand. They're a business. So anything that they say that's even out of the box, where when she did touch veer a little bit too much to Black Lives Matter and things, she received a lot of backlash. It was a lot of people
Formation.
Like, whoa, Beyonce,
Formation
why are you not including white women?
Whoa,
Beyonce,
exactly.
and she took a big hit, and so it is always risky. And bear in mind, yes, Beyonce's at a point where she can afford to take a hit.
Yeah.
But the men underneath her might not be able to.
Exactly.
Exactly. See, two things with that. Yes, she is a business, but she's so huge. Do you ever think we can get to a point while Beyonce is still making music that she's not going to be relevant?
I think so.
Or be the one. I don't believe so.
There was a point where Michael Jackson like kind of lost his, obviously with all the scandal and stuff like that. But when he did the song with
different.
It's so specific. But I think with Beyonce, there will be a time where the way that we consume music is changing so much. I don't believe anything is like constant anymore because like we don't have legends anymore. So that's the last era of legend we have.
That point I agree with, but then I feel like somebody like that will always remain there. And the point I was going to use is Eminem. So I'm not going to mention it. Eminem's album's terrible. However, his Trump freestyle, he's openly said it's alienated him from a bunch of his support, which is shown in his sales, where he hasn't sold 1 million records or whatever for the first time, I think, in years. Wow, I think he still sold well. It was still like, I think 350,000 first week.
Because Eminem fans will always be Eminem fans.
Yeah.
But that was him taking his risk and taking his knock. And it's like, if your risk is you're only selling 350,000 units in the first week, it's crazy. And then now what? The whole thing with Rams is Rams and Eminem are battling for the number 1 in the UK.
Well, Drake's in the conversation now too.
Oh, is it?
I think Drake's number 2.
Those 2 Drake tracks, did you guys listen?
I haven't heard it.
Diplomatic Community is a banger. That's the Drake I want to hear. I don't care about nothing else. God's Plan is what's wrong with music now. It's a catchy song and it's broken the streaming record for one day. It got almost 5 million streams in one day as a single. And Diplomatic Community is only on like a few 100,000 or something.
Diplomatic Community, I was like, okay, cool. I'm seeing you, Drake. I wasn't wowed.
It's witty,
but it was definitely stepped closer to the direction I wanted to see him in.
That's rapping Drake.
Do you know what it is?
God's Plan.
He gives us that once a year.
I almost didn't listen to Diplomatic Community because I listened to God's Plan. I was like, stop it.
For me, like, I don't want to get too deep into this because we've got some more stuff that we've got like 20 minutes left. But
that's a conversation for another time.
Drake has, I think, like, my projection for thing is that I wrote a blog piece about it about a year and a half ago, and I wanted to see comparatively how his and his peers, so I'd say J. Cole, Kendrick, Big Sean, Wale, Meek Mill. Did I say Kendrick?
You did.
That's
how their trajectories, and I think we've seen Drake's peak. That's how I feel.
Oh, we've 100%.
We've seen Drake's peak, and from now it's going to be interesting to see whether or not he plateaus or whether I won't say he'll ever nosedive because he's too.
I think he's too talented.
Creative.
Mm-hmm.
He has too many places in which he can go.
His toes in different ponds.
Yeah. So I don't think he'll
into UK.
I don't think he'll nosedive, but it's just going to be interesting to see where he falls. See, like how we have Jay-Z, Nas.
It's just
legendary. Yeah.
With this current crop of MCs, it's going to be interesting to see when it's all said and done where Drake places
who we look back and think of. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want to get too, because that's another conversation.
I've got a lot of debate with that.
Not particularly, but I don't dislike his music. I just don't own any of it. Simple as that.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
We've kind of come to the part of the show where we play, what would we say, unsigned.
Yeah, unsigned. Someone we want to promote
unsigned
or whatever.
Talent.
Yeah,
because we used to play songs we liked.
Preferably UK, but Ash has given us that.
Ash has dipped across the pond.
That new Atlantic flavour still.
No, I'm bringing you old stuff. I told you, I've been finding gems on my iPod.
So he's gonna go first.
Ash is gonna go first, I believe.
Do you have any music you wanna share?
I didn't prepare that in my mind, but yes, I guess I can.
Cool.
Let's see. Alright, you know what? Let me find the track. 1 sec. I was gonna play one song. I'll mention her anyway. A girl called Carlita Duran. She's from North Carolina.
She's
and
hard.
she was
she done a lot of hooks for Little Brother.
Part of the whole Justice League camp with Little Brother and Night Wonder and all of that. Her stuff's dope, but she hasn't done anything for ages. But the track I'm gonna play you instead, this guy, I don't know what happened to him. You know when you talk about someone's musical journey going left and not going. His name is CJ Hilton. He's got a very similar sound to Marvin Gaye, but slightly updated.
Wow.
He was on Raphael Sadiq's The Way I See It album with Stevie Wonder. He did the chorus on a track there. And this track is called Modest, and it came out, it never blew up or anything. It must have come out easily like 8 or 9 years ago. I don't have a proper high rip of it to this day. Can't find it on iTunes, SoundCloud, nothing. Like, I've heard him perform it live once or twice on YouTube, and after that he did some kind of typical formula R&B that didn't really go anywhere. But this track, if this works, is called Modest, and it's very much Marvin influence. Let's see if it works, because if not, there we go.
See, baby, to be honest, I can't help to be modest. I was sculptured, maybe I noticed. Darling, you're so beautiful. Sugar, you know this, and know this. When you give your everything notice, it makes me wanna put something on it.
Bridge.
Very Marvin.
Yeah.
It's very Marvin.
It's very Marvin inspired.
I don't know what happened to him, but he's got. Yeah, but Modest, if you find that track anywhere, let me know, because I've been banging that out for years, to the point where I even played like a 256 bitrate version at a DJ set because I needed everybody to hear it. I didn't care how bad it sounded. Who's next?
I might as well go next. So basically, I got here this morning. I hadn't actually chosen a tune, but I'm going to play a song by Azryah. It's Euphoria. She just did a video for it the other day. I want to get her up here at some point. So yeah.
More the merrier. Bring her through.
I'll play that. So it's Euphoria by Azryah. Featuring Pep.
Look, hear what I'm saying. I won't even try again, just give me that time frame and I'm dark, so if I'm late, I hope there's no mind change. You know my aim. You know, try to make you feel like your spine's
That's what I first heard of it. It's the first person I heard of it. Pep.
Oh, is it?
Just mind what you're saying, you can take it, just mind what you're claiming, cause I'm a lot to take in, wait, let's just pace it, chase it. Matter of fact, let's race, see who comes last, and just in case you can get a head start, you know. Your love isn't felt, it's inflicted.
I heard it a couple weeks ago though, because she started promoting it recently.
Yeah, the thing is, it's been on her SoundCloud for like time, like a year or so. It's been on it, and then, like the other day she's like, "Yep, I'm recording a video for." It. I was like, "Swear!" Like, so yeah, she's bringing that.
I'm gonna play an artist by the name of Kaleem Taylor.
Oh yeah, I see.
Huh?
The family connected.
Yeah. My cousin still. No, I got it on my phone still. He had a show this week.
I saw.
At Hoxton Pony, which seemed to have gone.
Yeah, it sounded like it went down well. I saw him at
LA.
Yeah, LA's gig.
Yeah.
In King's Cross before, and he put on a very, very good show.
So,
considering it
just happened to miss all the shows, but also appreciate his voice a lot.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's my cousin's.
Amazing.
I'm gonna play a track off his EP version. It's called Broken Mirrors. I can't remember if it has a super long intro. I'm gonna have to cut it out still.
We're about to find out.
You know it does.
You want me to chase? You want me to say I need you? Don't leave me alone. See this pain and walk away. Maybe you went a call. You picked up the phone, searched my name. I done the same. Never called, 'cause I wasn't wrong. Lost in our emotions. We don't even notice. We do try, but mirrors lie to sticky decisions. We both have opinions. Some ain't right, but mirrors lie to someone else. Someone else is broken mirror. There's someone else. There's someone else is broken mirror.
I like that.
That's a tune.
Yeah.
Oh man, how did I miss that song?
Yeah, it's a nice vibe still.
It's crazy. All I've done is just in the last like week or something is broadcasted him to come to one of my shows, and I'm like, you got a tune like that? Come to the studio, bro.
Do you have anything to play for us?
I was just thinking I was gonna play something by Lylo because I mentioned her, and I know that she's one person who's cooking up. She hasn't got. I didn't want to play on something unreleased because I can't, but the stuff that she showed me that is coming for her new EP is, I should have said that before, is someone I think actually is going to have an incredible year, who at least I'm close to, Lylo Gold, and like it's already started off well because she's dropped some like good material. So I think I'll play, I'm like caught between two songs of hers, but I'm actually going to go further back, and a song that she has called Show Me. No, I might do Starry Night. Starry Night she hasn't. The latest song is Over You, so I'm just naming all the tunes anyway. Go back and listen to all of them because they're fire. But she has like 2 or 3 songs that is on her EP that aren't out. That I'm just like, those are the ones I think are really gonna make the waves. But these are good. These are incredible songs, anyways. I think I play Starry Night because it's not too far back. It's a bit more chilled, but this is Starry Night by Lylo Gold, produced by Azryah Black.
Starry night, oh, I wish that I could own you. Pull you close, hold you in, I want to control you. I wish I didn't feel this way, but you made me feel so safe. When you illuminate from my help, starry night, oh, I wish that
I like that.
The two of them work so well together as well if you listen to their stuff.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Man's gonna have to be. I need all of you like to slap those links my way. My playlist for the week's looking lit already. Still. So we kind of come to the end of the show, guys. Just want to give a special thank you to Emmavie for coming through.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you.
It's been a
been a
very
good chat.
nice
Giving us
chit
your
chat.
time. It has. It's been.
So just do you want to quickly
Plug
tell us a
myself.
little about
Quick plug shows and what's coming up.
When does this come out? When does after today we record it? Because I'm thinking if people have missed
Monday.
the shows. Oh,
Monday.
okay. Wednesday and Thursday I've got shows. So Jazz Cafe is sold out. That's with Emmavie. I know it's always gonna happen like that. But it's not even. That's not even down to me. It's like the caliber of people are just like
talk your shit.
you know? So that's with Emmavie, Il Camille, Afronaut Zoo. Who's actually, how did I miss him? Zulu is like. But because his rate of releasing music has been massively slow, that's the only reason people don't know that he's like one of the best in the UK. If you see this guy, if you get any opportunity to be in a studio with him or something like that, is out of this world. Like I said to him like 2 days ago, he's one of the, sorry, this is going on for so long, but I just thought I had to add it in there. One of the few people whose studio I can go to and not want to leave. Like I've slept on his floor or on the couch in there like 3 times, and I'm not that person. I don't like to like be out there and be like, oh, now I can't get home, and I'm like, what am I gonna do in the morning? Like I would just be like, it's 3 a.m. now, I'm staying, my shoes have just come off. Do you know what I mean? I'm listening to him sing, and it's like, it's ridiculous. And in most of those cases, he's been with Azryah Black or with Magic, a guy called Magic, who's like another incredible producer. These guys are on a wave that I've never really seen before, and because they don't release the music because they're so they're like their harshest critics, and they're so specific about what's happening.
I've spoken a lot about them on this show.
Like these guys, the music will actually make you cry. Like I think I've been like brought to the floor at times, and they played me something. I'm like, why is this not out? When it comes out, it's that kind of music that will change what people are doing, because this is better than everything. And it's like it is like that. Like I question myself as a producer when I'm around these guys. I question myself as a singer when I'm around Zulu and stuff like that. So yeah, doing a show with him on Wednesday. Then Thursday it's like me, Hudson East, Dre Cheeks.
As well.
Yeah, it's like birthdays, and that's not sold out yet. But I know that's getting close. His birthday is on Thursday. With my live band, that one. So that at least then I get to really like
Spaz.
Guys, you guys should go to that, because
come through. Like that shows we've been making shows
I'm not
crazy.
kidding him. Band's amazing.
Thank you. What else have I got? Otherwise, I've got some international dates. February next, so that's in 2 weeks' time. I'm going to be doing a festival in Slovakia called the Universal Playground, which should be 6. Nice. Rom's doing it. What are these guys' names? The guy with the blue hair. Oh my God, why is his name gone up my head? Duo, Blue Note. No, Blue something Beats. Blue Lab Beats. Have you heard Blue Lab Beats?
I've heard the name actually.
Yeah, they're doing it at least from the UK. Then everyone else in the lineup is like just from places in Europe and stuff like that. Doing a show, I can't say just yet, but in a different European location very soon. Then just back for like the second quarter of the year to just kind of do my album and stuff like that. So, going to LA as well. So then there might be some stuff there because just meeting up with the selection guys, and like anything, they might just have a party. I might just get on stage and start singing. That's what we do. But that's it. Thank you for having me. Thanks, guys.
Welcome back anytime.
Yeah, I'll come through.
So guys, we'll be dropping on Mondays from now on.
Remember, Riz said that, yeah? Riz is in control of it.
Yep.
Keep him to his
I'll be
word.
held accountable. But yeah, Beats Rounds Life Pod. Use the hashtag.
Hey, you're taking my job.
Hit us up on the timeline.
What's the hashtag, Riz?
Beats Rhymes Life
Okay.
Pod. We've got YouTube videos coming as well, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, we out for this week.